This morning, I'm joined by Don Winningham from the depot's safety office. We're going to talk a little bit more about electrical safety. Good morning, Don.
Good morning, Jennifer. How are you?
I'm doing well. Now, last time we were on the morning show, we talked a little bit about basic electrical safety. And this morning we want to go a little more in depth. Now, to start off, remind us what hazards we face with electricity here on the depot.
Majority of the employees are going to be affected by electricity or the hazards associated with it by general electrical shock. We don't have very many employees that work with electricity every day, as in qualified electricians, and our people that work over on the industrial side. There's components, people that work on components, but it's a different kind of electricity. So the same that you would get at home, the majority of the people here, but we do have people that work with it high voltages every day, and those hazards could be anywhere from burns to electrocution.
Okay. Now, the last time that you were on the show, you mentioned the word arc flash, a phrase, arc flash. Now, what does that mean?
I'm going to read what the NEC calls it and how they define it, and this is straight out of the National Electrical Code. And an arc flash is where a flashover of electrical current leaves its intended path and travels through the air from one conductor to another or to the ground. The result are often violent, and when a human is in close proximity to this arc flash, injury or even death can occur.
Oh, wow. Now, you mentioned death in there, but what are some of the other dangers that we might face with an arc flash?
Those can be anywhere from, and this isn't any kind of particular order or anything, but burns, from heat that can go up to 35,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Fire from those heat, your clothing, non-fire retardant clothing can catch on fire, or things around the area can catch on fire. Flying objects, because of that heat, all the metal that's in there becomes molten, and it's a molten hazard, and it could fly out also and burn you that way. Sound blast, the noise from an arc flash can reach up to 140 decibels, which is loud. And like I said, the heat, 35,000 degrees, that's hot.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Now, are there any warning or danger signs that we have around depot that will tell people about the dangers of arc flash?
Yes, like we spoke about at the last one, we have markings, or arc flash boundary marking stickers that Alabama Power put on everything 2 years ago, back in 2016. And those will tell you the distance you have to stay away, and what it pertains to is a non-qualified worker when there's exposed wires. So, for instance, if a fuse panel doesn't have a faceplate on it and you can see the wires behind the breakers, there's 3 different boundaries on there, and the farthest one being the arc flash boundary, and that's where non-qualified people would have to stay back from.
Okay. So we need to take note of all of the breaker boxes in our area, know what boundary we have. So if anyone's working on that, we need to know exactly how far back we need to stay. Yes,
and it's the person who's a qualified electrical worker who's working on that equipment to put up some kind of barrier when he's doing that work. And keep people out of that area also.
Okay, well, good. Thank you for joining us and for giving us some additional reminders about electrical safety.
My pleasure.